and we're going to start off with a warm-up. So we're going to come onto all fours, and we'll just get a little bit of mobility through our spine to start with. So we're going to take an inhale breath, drop your bum back in the direction of your heels, but let your eye gaze look out in front of you, and then shift your body weight forward over your wrists. So we're dropping the bum back in space, and then we shift it forward. Dropping back, breathing in. Exhale, shift forward. So we're warming up through the wrists here as well. So be careful for some of you, if you're weak in the wrists, don't go too far forward. So the further far forward you go, the more weight bearing you put on the wrists. So it might be a bit of a challenge if you have weak wrists. Having said that, this is a good exercise to build it up. So you're just being careful of the range of motion that you're moving through. And we'll do 2 more, shifting forward, so I can go quite far forward onto the wrists, and then drop back into the heels. So as always with online classes, you're always self-monitoring, monitoring how far is enough, how far is too much. Drop back into the heels, and then shift forward just to come into those 4 points. So we've got even weight through both hands and even weight through the knees. And just take a moment there. Breathe in through your nose. And exhale out either through the nose or the mouth. Again, take another breath in, breathe in. And exhale out. And then from here, we're going to inhale, but create movement simultaneously with the breath. So we C curve through the spine on that inhale. And then we exhale, press the tailbone out just to a neutral spine, letting the eye gaze look to the top of the mat. So we're breathing in, stretching and opening up the back of the lungs, and then exhale into neutral. We'll take that 3 more times. Inhale, expanding the back body with that inhale breath. And then exhale, surrendering and releasing. So kind of staying loose through the belly, relaxed in the belly. Breath in, 2 more breaths. Exhale, soften. And 1 more like this, breathe in. And softening out. From here, we're going to drop the bum back into the heels, come up onto piano playing fingertips here. And with the fingertips, imagine you're dragging the fingers down to the end of your mat. So you're having activity here into the latissimus dorsi muscle. So we draw the fingers back, activate the lats, almost feeling the collarbones open as we do that. And we hold that draw back for 3, 2, 1. Slowly soften into the palms of the hands and allow the head to melt wherever it rests. Take 2 breaths here, breathe in and exhale. And another breath, breathe in and exhale. From here, come back up onto the fingertips again, drag them back to the end of the mat, eye gaze looking forward for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, exhale, surrender the palms, surrender the elbows, surrendering the head. 2 breaths, breathe in, exhale. Breathing in, exhaling. This time come back up onto the fingertips. Step your right hand to the right side. Step your left hand to the left side. Flatten the right palm down onto the floor. And with your left fingers, crawl the left fingers a little bit further. So we get that stretch in the side body. So on the left side, you'll be feeling it here. You can allow your head to come down. It can rest on the arm if it's more comfortable. And breathe for 3. And 2. breath, breathe in. Really stretching that left side. And then slowly walk your hands to the center. Reaching off to the opposite side, left palm comes flat this time. Right fingertips are crawling past the left. You can stay elevated on the fingertips here. That just creates more energy through that right side, letting the head drop. So you'll have 2 more breaths left now. And you might notice maybe one side might feel tighter than the other. This is definitely my tight side. And exhale. Lovely. Come back in through the center and then come onto the knees. Let's step our right foot out in front as we're still in the morning, early morning, so some of you might not be moving around too much. So we'll open up the hips. So allow this leg to move forward, and as a result, the opposite hip will release and open. And we'll just stay here again for 3 breaths. You can use the fingertips drawing back here to pull and open up your front body, and that facilitates a more stronger foundation, which then allows a sense of release in through the hip when it's been supported by a strong foundation. Let your eye gaze look forward, so you're always encouraging that open posture through the upper body. We'll take 1 more breath. Breathe in and exhale. And it's always nice when you're in this position to start to have an effect on the back of the thigh. So we'll roll back in space and just allow the toes to pull up to get that stretch to the back of the thigh, and then shift forward. If you're minding your knees or you have weakness through your knee, you may just stay in this static position and not do the rock forward and back. Or if you have any sacrum issues, you might feel more comfortable just staying in the static lunge, just getting the stretch through the hip flexor. But otherwise, if you feel good, we can incorporate that back of thigh as we stretch back on an exhale, and then we breathe in as we come forward. Exhale, draw it back. Inhale, coming forward. And you may notice from morning to evening classes that you don't get as big a stretch in the morning time, particularly if you haven't been pottering around much this morning. And then shifting forward, because all our movements during the day create natural mobility to our joints. This is our last one. Exhale it back. And inhale, coming forward. Now just shift the body weight back so you're even through weight in both legs, and then take that front leg back, and we'll just switch it around to the other side. So allowing the body weight to shift into that front foot now, feeling and sensing this opposite hip reaching in the direction of the floor. So ideally you don't want that back hip to be perpendicular to the floor. You want it almost on a diagonal line as you reach it down. And then we're rolling the shoulders back, bringing the eye gaze up, breathing in. And just using that exhale to promote a sense of relaxation through the nervous system. Breathing in. And exhaling. And let's stay for another breath before we move with the leg. And again, it's your choice if you're going to add that movement. Maybe you might just stay here. If you feel the hips really need to open, you may get more benefit by just staying here. Otherwise, you can start to rock back, exhaling, and then inhale, coming forward. And you can walk your fingers to assist with that movement. The fingers can walk back as you draw the toes to your nose, and then they can walk forward as you move to the inhale. Exhale, back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. We'll do 2 more. Last one. Exhale. And forward. Brilliant. Well done. Okay, sliding that leg back in space, we're going to turn over onto our back. You're going to have your hand weights, whatever you're using, have them close to you now. Put them here so you don't block my head. So it can be a can of something in your house, or what I have is 2 small bottles of water. Stick them here actually. Or else we'll just use the body weight if you don't have it. Okay, so finding a nice neutral position, so we have the space underneath the low back. We're going to take our right leg into tabletop, and we're going to take the second leg up now. So if you're new to Pilates, you're going to imprint, press the low back into the mat, take the second leg up, so you have a little bit of support from the spine. If you've done quite a few classes with me, you're probably strong enough to move into neutral. To know if you're strong enough to move into neutral, when you're there, there's a space underneath your low back, number 1. Number 2, you will feel that your core is responding to the weight of your legs and not your back. So if you can do both of those 2 points easy, then you're fine in tabletop. If you feel that you don't have a space underneath your low back and your back is, or it's 2 hand spaces, it's really arching, then you're going to put pressure on your back. So move back into imprint where you're gently pressing the back into the mat. You're not completely squashing the blueberry underneath your low back, but you are putting pressure on it. Your legs will come kind of slightly off the 90-degree angle there. So you're better to work in that position if you're finding neutral is challenging you, and definitely if it's working into your back. So finding the position that you can maintain, you can also of course have one foot on the floor. You're going to take the bottles into your hands. Just check these lids are nice and tight. And then we raise the arms up towards the sky with your weights. If you don't have weights, it's just simply your hands. And then from here, we're going to press down and straighten up. So we're bending at the elbows, taking an inhale down and an exhale up. Breathing in and exhale up. So we're looking for that 90-degree angle when we come down, and then draw back up again. Tummy is working against the weight of the legs. Inhale, exhale, straighten. So notice that you're just skimming the top of the hairline here as you bend the elbows. So we're not looking for straight arms, for example, this straight arms. We're not looking for that. We're looking for that deliberate bend at the elbow, so then we can have an influence on our tricep muscle. We'll go for 3, 2, and 1, and back up. Then pop your feet down, pop your weights down. Draw your heels a little bit closer to your thighs, hands by your side. We're going to go into a bridge now, so you're going to roll your low back to the mat and start to peel your spine away from the floor, so the hips are up high. Take a breath in on the top, and then on the exhale, we're going to sink that upper body down. So we're melting from the upper body as we lower the vertebrae down bit by bit by bit by bit. We're releasing the pelvis out at the bottom. We take a breath in there, then we exhale, roll the low back to the mat, peel the spine away from the floor, lifting the hips high. Inhale on the top, and then exhale to sink and lower everything back down. Releasing at the bottom. So here we're mobilizing the spine, but we're also opening up the hips. We're strengthening the muscles in the butt by pushing deeply into the feet. Squeeze the butt as the hips are lifting up, and come as high as is comfortable for you. So remember, this is still the morning. So if you know that maybe the low back gets a little bit tight, don't try and press up to that ski slope position straight off the get-go. So you may start rolling back, lifting through the lower vertebrae and maybe a little bit into the middle. So you just come this high and then you sink back down again. You do a couple like that, and then you start moving a little bit further into that range of motion, a little bit further into the ski slope. So you don't always have to find that ski slope position straight off the get-go. So again, listen to your body, sense how your body is feeling. So if you tend to have tightness in the back, then you're going to build this bridge up gradually. Squeeze the butt on the top on the inhale, and then slowly lower everything down. So we're just getting some nice articulation through the spine for our next exercise. We'll do one more. Breath in. Exhale, roll, peel it all the way up. Inhale, hold everything. And then exhale to release back down into the floor. Letting the pelvis release out. Excellent. From here, we're going to come to a seated position. Roll onto your side. Push up from that bottom arm. And then we come to the end of our mat, sitting nice and tall. We're going to take whatever weights we're using, if we're using them, and bring them to the side into our hands. So we lengthen the spine nice and tall. And we know this exercise if you've been following along with me. So we're going to tip the pelvis back. So we roll into a C curve. And then we draw the belly in to lengthen the spine nice and tall. Rolling back. And exhaling out. Breathe into round. And exhale to lift nice and tall. Great. Breathe in. And lift. So we're just holding those weights. Just by holding them on its own is a challenge in through the arms, but we're going to add a little bit of movement now. So the next time we roll back, we stay back in the half roll back. So we roll back in that half roll back shape and we stay here. Now we're going to add a curl. So we exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. So my tummy is working to keep me in this round back space, but my arms are working as I create the curl. So I've got another 5, 4, exhale as you curl in, 3, 2, and one more. Inhale long, and then exhale, draw everything up. Popping down your weights, turn onto your side, but you're going to have one of them close to you. We're going to have our knees bent with our heels in line with the butt. So we want the heels to line up with the butt or the back pocket. Then take your weight, whatever it is, and start by opening your top knee and then lower back down. So my head is supported by my bottom arm. I'm working into the lateral part of the hip as I open up into the clam. But I'm going to have my elbow of my top arm resting into the side of my ribs. I hold onto my weight and then I lift up, but keep the elbow into the side, and then I lower it back down again. So I'm involving the rotator cuff muscles here now. So I exhale to open and inhale down, lifting and lowering. And of course, if you find this too challenging, you could choose to omit one of these. So maybe you might just want to work rotator cuff and leave the leg out, or maybe you want to work into that lateral part of the hip, toning the outside of the thighs, and leave the rotator cuff part out if it's a bit of a challenge. We use an exhale as we lift up to open, and an inhale to lower. So keeping the elbow gently in by your side and down. We've got 2 more. And last one, lift to open and lowering down. Now at the top arm, we're going to lift it up and over and just reach it over our head, but let it come out in front. So it's kind of on the front corner of the mat. So you're getting that stretch through the right side of the body. So it's not going to feel very strong at the moment. So if you slide your top leg long and allow it to reach back in space, maybe it touches the floor and maybe it just hangs in space. And now with your top arm, walk the fingers away and push the bottom sole of your top leg away. So you're trying to really stretch that whole side body. So keep that stretch happening, reaching the foot away, reaching the hand away for 3, 2, and 1, and then slowly return everything back into the center. From here, we're going to go onto our tummy face down. So we come face down. We're going to have the little fingers as wide as our mat. Our feet are separated behind us. And we push into the floor with our hands. We breathe in to elevate up. And then we exhale to lower everything back down. So we're going to inhale to lift up, roll those shoulders back towards each other, and then gently soften everything back down. Lifting, squeezing the shoulder blades towards each other, and gently lowering down. So we're getting that work into the muscles in the back as we lift, and release it down. Squeeze and lower down. Okay, we're going to do one more. Lift to squeeze and lower everything down. From here, bring your hands to the sides of your ribs, come up onto your knees and drop your butt back into your heels. So you get a little stretch in through the side body as we reach the arms back out in front and the butt back in space. And then we'll come to the other side. So if you grab one of your weights, if you're using them, come into the side, heels in line with the butt. Your hand is supported by your head. And then we start with the opening first. So let's take the top knee up and then lower it back down. Top knee up and lowering down. Good. Open and down. Now we're going to have our elbow in by our side and we're going to open everything and lower down. So we want to keep that elbow in by your side as you lift up and lower down. Exhale and down. So keep the tummy working. You want those external rotators in the shoulder to be working. External rotators in the hip are working here. So really good to support the shoulder and the hip joint. And like I said, if it's too challenging for the two to be working together, you can always omit one of them. So using that exhale as we lift up. And lift. Nice. So we're going to go for another 5, 5, 4, 3, and 2 more. And final one, lifting up and lowering down. So we're going to leave that off to one side. We're going to reach the arm over the head, reach it out to the corner of your mat. Walk those fingers away, extend the top leg long, reach it back in space, and just let the leg fall down behind you. And then we reach those points away from each other. So we're stretching to the top arm, we're reaching on the bottom leg, and we keep doing that for another 3 and 2 and 1, and then slowly drawing back into your center. Well done. From there, we're going to turn over onto our back, and we're going to finish with a double leg lift. So we're going to have our 2 legs into the tabletop position here. We're going to bring the hands onto our knees, and then we press the knees into the hands and the hands into the knees. So we want to create that energy through the center of the body as we breathe in and out, keeping that connection, letting the upper body relax, but you should feel the challenge in through the tummy muscles. Excellent. And we're going to hold that for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then slowly draw your knees into your chest. Maybe rock your knees from side to side so you get a little bit of a release in through your back. And then from there, you're going to place your feet onto the floor. Lengthen the legs long. Turn the palms up to the sky. If lengthening the legs long challenges your back, bend your knees. And another tip, you could take your soles of your feet as wide as your mat, and just let your knees fall in against each other, and that can be quite comfortable in the low back. Or you could choose to come to a seated position. Whatever position you're in, we're going to start with a couple of breaths into the belly. I'm going to come to a seated position just because it's easier to talk when we're in a seated position. So for you, lying down or sitting is fine. So we're going to focus on the belly, and we gently close the eyes down if you feel comfortable with that. And we breathe into the belly, filling the lungs with air. And exhale, just surrendering into the mat. Breathing in that sense of spaciousness. And just exhaling anything that no longer serves you. Filling the lungs with air, the lower lobes of the lungs. And exhale, releasing it. We're going to take a couple of breaths like this as we breathe in deeply and exhale out, surrendering. Be noticing the points of contact against our body that's supporting our body. They're like our foundations that we worked with in class. And you can start to take all of these learnings and teachings off the mat into your life, and just notice the support around you. People that you can lean on, systems that work for you. And then just with that knowing, feel that sense of support. Breathing into your inner architecture, feeling and sensing that inner wisdom within us all. And in your own time now, you can start to create a little bit of movement in your body. Maybe it's movement through the hands, or movement through the ankles or feet. Maybe through the shoulders. Just taking your breath normally now. So just bringing the body back to its normal state. And if you feel ready to move out from here, you can roll onto your side and come to a seated position. If you feel you'd like to stay there for a little bit longer, just stay there with the breath. And then when you come to a seated position, gently flicker open the eyes, looking out to the floor in front of you. And then gently raise the eye gaze, just taking in the room, the surrounds and the sounds around you. And well done. Thank you for joining me in class today. We have launched our online Pilates timetable, which will start on the 2nd of September. So I will pin the details on the post here for anyone that's interested. Feel free to message me if you need more details, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for joining. Bye.